Jaworski. Good. Hi. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Inspired Hearts Publishing author interview. Today, I am joined with Angela Jaworski. I hope I said that correctly.
You did.
Okay, perfect. And Angela is launching her book today, Level Up Your Medical Spa. So excited to have you today, Angela. How are you?
I'm good. I appreciate being on here today, and I'm really excited to have this completed and published and out there.
It's been a labor of love for you. I
It
know that
has.
for sure. Yes. And you have poured your heart and soul into it, and working with you, it's really clear that that's your mode of operation, right? That's how you do things. So it's really been a pleasure to work with you. So let's start off talking a little bit about the book, Level Up Your Medical Spa, creating a high client experience to increase sales. What was your motivation for writing this book?
The motivation to write this book started when I began in this career. As I'm going through schooling and I'm on the job and I'm learning and I'm going through these trainings and I'm talking to the manufacturers of the equipment that I'm using, I'm noticing that there's just missing information. There's this like, here you are on an island because this industry is so unique and everybody's trying to catch up in the education part of things. And then you're trying to reach the shore, which is where all your clients are. And there's just this missing roadmap. And so I just dove right in and looked everywhere, researched, took the classes, did what it took to find the answers to the questions I had, and then joined all of these different Facebook groups and like listened to the questions that everybody else had and dove into those questions as well. So, yeah.
And then you wrote a book about it and you're like,
Right.
here, everyone, these are all the
Yeah.
questions I wish I had when I
right.
was experience. And yeah, I love that so much.
And having been a client and knowing the results I wanted to receive, I wanted to make sure I was giving those results. And the only way to do that was finding these answers.
It's so good. So for anyone who's watching who isn't exactly sure what a med spa is or does, can you give us just a quick synopsis of that?
So a lot of times medical spas will include injectables, non-surgical equipment, anything that is typically supervised by a physician or medical director. And the licensed professionals who are allowed to touch the skin can be delegated these tasks. So you can have the equipment that will melt the fat, tighten the skin, also help with diminishing stretch marks and scars and pigmentation. So that's pretty much, and then of course, Botox and fillers, which most people are familiar with.
Right. Yeah. So this book is really two-faceted, right? For people who are practitioners who are probably going to experience some of those gaps that you found and are looking for answers and really bridging the gap between the practice and the business, right?
Right.
And also for people who are curious about med spa procedures and maybe, how to, start finding out more. So there's chapters designated to them. Do you want to share those chapters for anyone who's maybe like, well, I'm not a practitioner, but I'm curious?
Right. So chapters 1 through 3 in the book are an excellent resource. It will save clients or potential clients looking for these services a lot of Google time because that information is in those chapters. And then the entire book is really good for the technicians in communicating and educating the client to actually like build that trust and give them optimal results. So the chapters are great. They have information about the details of technology, the anatomy affected, and goes into cellulite, which is a big one for a lot of people. Talks about a lot of the just multiple factors that can affect results for clients and understanding what they are. And then also like the marketing part of it, and the client consultation. And the best part, like for practitioners, technicians, is that it has a workbook of questions to help them retain the information, as
Yeah.
well as a glossary. So they don't even have to jump into Google. It's all right there in the book, so they can read it while they're traveling, or, they
Yes.
don't have to have internet access. But a lot of this information is all available on the internet. So it's a nice book to have.
Yeah, you really just curated all the information. You curated all the information and put it together in this really easy, great resource for both practitioners and possible potential patients or clients that might want to get these kinds of procedures done. So let's talk a little bit about how you got into this field yourself, because you have a really personal journey about this.
So I used to be 240 pounds. And of course, I was younger, so I wasn't premenopausal.
Mhm.
But I had gotten down to 160 pounds and done it without medical assistance. It was paying attention to my diet, it was being active, also like paying attention to things that affect my blood type. And it took me about a year to do
Yeah.
that.
Well,
The
congratulations. That's a big
Thanks,
deal.
thanks. And a lot of what I didn't know was how to take care of my skin, or that I even needed to,
Mm.
in order, like while I was losing weight, because a lot of times after the age of 35, or after you've had children, our skin just doesn't respond the way that it used to.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I went through surgery to remove it,
Mhm.
and that got botched. And
Mhm.
so then I started researching, like, what else can I do? And that's when I found the non-surgical world and how that works. And I wanted to understand it. And once I did, I was like, I have to share this with people. They have to understand that surgery is not the only option. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the main reason why I wrote the book, was
Mhm.
if we knew more about it, then we would understand how it would work, how to work with it,
Yeah.
and be patient.
Yes.
And then it took me 4 years to find a surgeon I could trust to fix the first one. So I
Yeah.
had to go through the process twice, which
Yeah.
is not a very good experience.
Yeah.
It's yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it sounds really challenging, and it sounds like, you learned after the fact that if you would have understood so much more about this while you were losing the weight,
exactly.
and the resources available to you, that it could have saved a lot of time and money and heartache and, challenge. So, now you're bringing this book and saying,
Yes.
and I think that's one of the things that I appreciate so much about this book and your heart in this, because you're the kind of person who's like, why isn't this available for people? And I know this, so I need to make it available. And so
Right.
you decided, okay, I'm doing all this research, I'm putting this together. At what point did you decide, you know what, this really needs to be a book?
Um, well, I think it was when COVID hit, and I I put everything together in a video seminar
Mhm.
as informational, uh, that everybody could access. And then I thought, you know what? It's more affordable. It's more extendable to get out further in a book format. And I just decided that
Yeah.
it needed to get transferred over. The, there just needed to be a book. you
Yes,
know,
you're
it,
like, why
it's
isn't this
something
book
that
here? Like, book needs to exist. I
I,
guess I'm in
I
a
I've spent I've spent so much time researching all of this information. And I was like, why is this just not in one place? Why do I have to go all over the world to
Yeah.
find it? And
Yes.
I mean, I'm sure it's not including every single thing, but this is like every single thing that's affected my journey over the years since I've started this. And I just put it all right here.
Yes, make
So
it super easy, super accessible. So I want to get into the publishing piece and kind of how our paths meshed, and that experience here a minute. But before I do, so you're located in Colorado. You're right down the street from me, a couple towns away, um,
right.
and your business is. I don't want to say the name.
It's Cavi Cinch Spa,
Cavi Cinch Spa.
right.
And so you also are a practitioner, of course, you work with your clients. So I'm going to link to your website for anyone interested in learning more about Angela and and her actual, med spa practice. And also a big piece of this book and a big piece of where you're moving is really supporting other practitioners, building in those gaps, really being a mentor, a guide, a coach for people who are maybe somewhere, maybe just getting started, or maybe have been doing med spa for a while, but still have those gaps, haven't had the chance to do the research that you did to come in and really
Exactly.
bridge those that and that is convicinch .com, and I'll make sure to link that also. And Angela has some amazing resources. Grab the book, and then at the end of the book, you're going to find that she mentioned she has video tutorials and resources, and also opportunities to work with her one-on-one. So make sure to grab the book today. It's on sale, only $6.99 for the digital and $17.99 for the paperback, which is a steal for what you're getting in this book. And it's really only going to be priced that way for a limited time during the launch. So make sure to grab a copy today. So you and I crossed paths. Your manuscript was pretty much done, and you're like, okay, now what, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about what did you expect the publishing process to be like?
Honestly, I didn't know. I just knew what I didn't know, which was pretty much everything in the process. And I think my biggest hurdle was, how am I going to market this? How do I make sure that I cover all the legalities? Because you've got copyright issues and you want to make sure that, you know, when you put it out there, you see on books you purchase, they have those codes and those barcodes and all this stuff. And I really wanted to make sure that I had a great cover. And I mean, I do a lot of my own marketing. So I'm thinking, oh, I know that I can do this, but I really want someone that can just make it absolutely beautiful. And honestly, I think the most epic moment was I shared my idea, and then you and your team came back with something I didn't even think of, and it was way better than I could have imagined. And it was a no-brainer to pick the cover that we did.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
it's just because I feel like we started out with, I was open to knowing what I wanted the book to feel like. I know what I wanted it to say when people looked at it. And you were so open to listening to what that was and finding out how to basically pull it out of my own head. And we just met.
Yes, yeah, and that's one of my favorite parts is really just being like, "Okay, let's get what you are envisioning, and like you said, maybe even something better that you couldn't expect, and let's bring it to fruition." So, for those of you who are watching, Inspired Hearts Publishing brings the manuscript to life. So, once someone has a completed manuscript, they will come and partner with me to create a beautiful cover design, to put the formatting together, to make it so that we actually have a book,
Right.
and to put it up there so on a platform so people can purchase it and create a marketing plan. And so that is the process for what we do together. And I think so. What was a surprise for you in the publishing process, and something kind of any feedback that you have in working with me?
Um, I think the big surprise was that even when we hit hurdles through the process, I know that I'm an open communicator, but being that I didn't know you
Yeah.
and learning that if I can express what I don't know, you were so open to basically go through the hurdles, not just jump over them, ignore them. You know, you actually took the time to go through the hurdle, which, you know, that means a lot because as the author or anybody who wants to write a book, it's personal to them. I mean, they write it for a reason, they have a purpose. And to find someone to work with you that can be as passionate or patient and willing to, you know, get this to the finish line and walk through whatever it looks like through this process is it it just makes it all worth it. And it's very hard to find individuals to work with that can see that and do that and provide that. So I am grateful and very appreciative.
It's been such an honor to work with you. And I think the, you know, writing a book, publishing a book is a labor of love. It's an investment of time and money and resources. And it matters so much. And you know, emotions are high. People, there's a lot at stake. People are really putting themselves out there. And what I really just it's always my intention is to help the author have the best experiences possible. And sometimes that means, you know, okay, we'll go back to the drawing board. Let's rework this. We're going to make this right. Sometimes that means just, you know, helping to explain or create some understanding around an experience. But definitely, I think the difference in working with like a, you know, a traditional publisher versus someone like me is you really get my one-on-one support and we're doing this together. And I think that is something that came through wide and clear for us during this experience. So it's been amazing. Let's talk about some of the things that are already happening because of this book. You literally just launched it today.
Yes.
And you're such a powerhouse. The thing about Angela is she's smart. She knows exactly what she wants and how to do it. So it's been easy to work with you, but let's talk about some of the things that are already happening because of the book.
Because I'm a national certified trainer with a specific manufacturer, I informed them that I have this book available that kind of fills that gap. The manufacturers are aware of it. They don't exactly advertise it, of course, but they invited me to the International Aesthetic Conference in Las Vegas this coming weekend. They invited me to their booth to not only participate with them, but to promote my book. And they last week asked me for a video to be like, why this book? And so, in 48 hours, I made that happen. So
Yes,
that, and the company is an international business, and they actually are going to market that video to all of their customers. So I'm pretty excited about that. And
incredible. I know we were talking yesterday, and so you've been invited to their booth, which there's obviously, you know, a booth at this kind of conference is actually a pretty big investment, and you're invited to come in on their booth. You're invited to create this video, which they want to share with their other sales reps and people who are working with them. And so I know we were talking about this yesterday, and I'm like, who do you think they're going to think of if opportunities come up, you or the person who didn't write the book?
Right.
And so it's already clear how this book is really serving you. You are already making so much sense out of how to utilize this book. And I know you've also had some other experiences where people who didn't have, you know, you weren't really they hadn't really paid attention. All of a sudden they're like, oh, you're writing a book. Okay. And putting
Right.
kind of in some different, it's amazing the notoriety that publishing a book really holds for people. So congratulations. It's such a
Thank you.
massive accomplishment. I know how hard you've worked on this, and I'm so excited to help you share it far and wide. So anyone who's watching, if you know someone who has been interested in, medical spa, or if they are somewhere an esthetician, is that the right?
Esthetician. Yep, esthetician.
Esthetician. I knew that wasn't right. Esthetician, who maybe wants to expand their practice, or somewhere in the process of putting together this kind of practice, make sure to send the link for this book. There's going to be so many resources for them, and they're going to be thanking you for doing that. And you know what? Share the link on your page. You never know who might be thinking about or putting the pieces together. And like we said, there's also some great resources for clients or people who are wanting to have medical spa procedures done as well. So help us get this out there. We're so appreciative. It's been an absolute pleasure working with you, Angela, and I'm just excited to see how this book continues to serve you and your business.
Thank you. I appreciate that so much. It's been a pleasure working with you, and I'm sure this is not the last you're going to see of me.
It's definitely not. And literally, Angela lives like an hour and a half, 2 hours away, and we haven't connected yet, but that's totally on the list. So we're going to make sure that happens.
Right.
Thanks for everyone for tuning in, and we will talk to you next time.
Thank you.